Launching your product as an artist is never easy, and I would know. My name is Olatunji, and I'm the Director of EM Artist Services, a company that has successfully launched as many as 30 new albums, EPs, and music videos in the past 2 years for a number of award-winning and nominated artists. These are my personal top 10 tips on what you need to record your EP and album. And trust me, it's not what you think. Number 1, why? Why do you want to create music? Why do you want to have your own album? Why do you want to have your EP? For me, the biggest why to what I'm doing is everybody else. I'm doing this business to help you. Who is your music servicing and why is it servicing them? 2 is believe in yourself. I believe that the biggest issue that we have this day and age is belief, insecurity. What can go right? What could go wrong? We ask ourselves so many questions. I've met some people that are extremely talented but have no self-belief. And I believed in them more than they believed in themselves. So much so that we didn't get them on shows and they wouldn't turn up because they're scared. You need to believe in yourself if you want to do this. Belief over everything. Can I tell you a secret? There are people that are not as talented, but have the belief and they get much further in life. So believe in yourself. How do you believe in yourself? Something that I do every day. I look in the mirror and talk to myself. Your confession to yourself is so important. Probably more important than anything anybody else is ever going to say to you. Educate yourself. For me, that was extremely important because sometimes you don't know how far you've gone until you read everybody else's story. I didn't see myself as an industry expert until I realized I've been in the industry for a number of years and actually completed over 30 projects. Anything good starts from within you, so you need to believe in yourself. Number 3, get started. A top tip is getting started. You have to start. I've traveled across the world and met some of the most talented people on this earth, I would say. And what they all have in common is they all started. You can't move if you don't start. Starting is the beginning of anything. I know it sounds obvious, but the truth of the matter is most people don't start. I understand why starting is difficult because there's so many fears. What could happen? Why might not happen? Am I doing the right thing? Am I going to prosper of this? Is it going to make sense? Who's going to judge me? But the truth about it is, the biggest risk in life is not taking the risk at all. It doesn't matter what level you're at, whether this is your first EP, your first album, your first video, your first single, or whether you've done it 500 times, which I'm sure you haven't. The truth about it is, just get started for you and for everybody else. You have no idea who's waiting on you, please. Number 4, understand yourself and who you are and what sort of music you want to create. I'm a tall man, I'm about 18 stone. If you saw me wearing the same clothes, the same size, my shorter friends, you'll look at me like, whoa, what's this guy doing? Same thing with music. Stay true to who you are. But you'll be surprised of how many artists are willing to be who they're not. Pressure, peer pressure, family pressure, financial pressure. Sometimes we feel like being somebody else will gain us more money, will gain us more attention. But the reality of it is, it probably won't. All of these things tie in. Your upbringing, what you did for social activities, who your friends are like, all of these shape who you are as a person. And who you are as a person kind of shapes the music that you listen to. And the music that you listen to, more time is going to shape the sort of music that you want to create. And this is really important because I feel like sometimes we are unrealistic. People are unrealistic with what they want and who they want to be. Be true to who you are. If you're a soprano, be a soprano. If you're a tenor, be a tenor. If you're alto, be an alto. But don't try and be a soprano when you're a baritone. It's just not going to work. Don't try and be an Afrobeats artist when you're a jazz artist. Don't try and be a rock artist when you're a classical singer or an opera singer. Just be true to yourself. There's no rules in music, and I feel like we're getting to this stage in the industry where that's quite evident. I don't even believe in anything such as mainstream anymore. It's always changing. The music that was on radio 4 years ago, 2 years ago, even last year, it's not the same sort of music that's on the radio now. So be true to yourself. Be honest with the music that you like. You never know who it's going to touch. All the world wants is a true expression of who you are. Don't be a photocopy of somebody else. Be the best version of you can be. 5. What do you want to achieve out of music? If it's financial security or financial stability, or if you want to tour the world tomorrow, I think it's better you pause and go back on this video, because that's not going to happen straight away. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a dream seller. If you want to impact people with the music that you have, impact your immediate surroundings and allow your music to grow, that's why you should do music. Music, honestly, is not so much about the big things sometimes. Sometimes the little things lead to the big things. I would say a little thing is starting. Can you imagine if just a circle of friends were influenced by your music? Do you know how that would grow? So what are you really doing this for? And what are you doing this to achieve? I say this so you don't be disappointed and you don't be over expectant in the short term. In the long term, I'm not saying that we won't get there, but right now, you're not going to get a booking for £10,000 tomorrow. But when you start, all things are possible. Because this is the part that nobody likes to speak about. How much do you want to spend? How much? People forget that you get what you pay for, and music costs money. Music is not free. You might have a cousin that can produce you something. You might have your mum that can take a picture on your phone for your album cover. But if you want to do things well and professionally, it does cost money. I mean, when I first started, I was so afraid to tell people that music costs money. But then I realized that music does cost money. It is an investment. It's something that you're not going to reap back from straight away. Let me give you an example of some of the people that I interact with. Some people have just recorded an album not even up to a year ago, and did it with people that are close to, or mates or friends, and thought, you know what, this is going to be industry standard. After 8 months, they're not happy. What's the point? Say no to mates rates. Say no to favors. Make sure that what you're doing and what you're investing is the best. What is really the point in investing something you're not happy in? Even in our company, we make sure with all our projects, everybody is 100% happy. We have 100% satisfaction rate when it comes to our products, because your happiness is so important to us, but it does cost money to do. What I really want is to play your CD 5-10 years down the line and still be excited and happy about it. I don't want to be rushing you out the studio. I don't want you to be saying that, your time's over, or I've lost your files or anything like that. I want you to be 100% happy with what you have. And it does cost money. What sort of producers do you want to work with? What sort of music do you want to create? You have to really sit down and think about that. There's no wrong answer to that. It's not a trick question, by the way. Do you want to work with beatsmiths that will give you more stripped back but commercial beats, kind of loops that you can just flow over or sing over or rap over? Or do you want to work with composers that are more instrumental? Composers often use more sophisticated chord progressions. The music is more dynamic, more musical, if you say the least. But none is either better than the other. Is just what your preference is and what your style of music is. Or do you just want a ready-made beat? Bearing in mind, it'd be good for you to know an idea in your head of what you want your producer to be like. I think that's very important. Because the truth about it is, through music, you can feel emotion. And it's very important that you're comfortable and you are on the same page as the producer that you're working with. Very important. Secret tip, make sure you like the producer. And also make sure they don't shout at you in the studio. Deadline. What's your deadline? What's your time frame? I've met so many people that have unreleased albums of music, and I'm actually sick and tired of it. Because really, be honest, when you have a plan in place, music and releasing EPs and albums should not take this long. I've met a lady that it's taken her almost 3 years to do one album. Music has changed in 3 years. Anyway, it's important for you to set a deadline. When do you want it to be out? A realistic deadline. Even if your deadline is 3 months, make sure that you have the time to put into it within that 3 months for you to do it. If it's 6 months, the same thing. But set a realistic deadline. Sometimes it'll be a year. But I would say no longer than a year for you to release your album, because even you as an individual, you change after a year. Your experiences change, your life knowledge changes. So imagine recording something in January, going through a whole year, not finishing something, and then recording again in January. You're going to be a totally different person. So set yourself a realistic deadline for you to get your music out. Very, very important. And let me tell you this actually, secret tip. People may not agree with me. It's more important that you get a good quality music out than sitting on music to wait for it to be perfect. Because the truth about it is, nothing is ever perfect. This video is probably not even perfect, but I hope you're enjoying it. Number 9, time. This is not your deadline. This is the time that you're going to invest in your music. Your studio time, your writing time, your thinking time, your time. You need to have time. You cannot say that this is going to be a priority for you and not allocate time. And there's always time. If you work from 8 till 6, which some of our clients have done, you have after work. Even if you work 6 till 9 every day, you have the weekends. If this is important for you, if creating an EP, an album is important to you, you will find the time and make the time. There's no point in you investing money and getting all these stuff together for you to do your music, your album, your EP, even your music video, and not putting the time in, even to practice. We don't expect people to be perfect, but in any instance, we expect people to at least have the time to practice what they're doing. What do you do with this time? So I say time. How does it look in real terms? Schedule yourself. Plan. Okay, I'm going to set these hours to do my studio stuff or work on my music. I'm going to be free these days. In fact, I'm going to take days off work to put towards my music and my album. Scheduling. Make a plan. So imagine you're in a restaurant. I like to eat. I'm losing weight now. I like to eat out a lot. I like spaghetti. Not like lasagna. Oh, it's a really nice place in lasagna. Imagine somebody brought me out a lasagna in my favorite Italian restaurant and put it in front of me, and it was cold and the meat was red. And I called out the chef. I said, "Chef, what's going on? What's wrong, mate?" And he says to me, "I didn't have time to cook it properly." How does that even work? So if we can't eat food that's not prepared and the chef is not even trying to put time into making my food, how are you going to expect people to receive your music when you haven't even put the time into it? How do you even expect to finish it, let alone serve it? Time. Last but not least, my number 10, and I think the most important tip: don't go through all this by yourself. There's no need. For example, I've done over 30 projects myself. I know this thing inside out. I'm sure if not me, you know somebody that's also gone before you. Speak to people. Speak to them. Get advice, knowledge, understand exactly how long the process is. It's not an easy road, I'll tell you that from now. But it is an extremely rewarding road. Looking at my shelf in the back left, and this is not even half of the projects that we worked on. Even I'm rewarded, and I thank everybody that's invested themselves to do all these projects and send it out to people. You really have to get advice and knowledge from people that know what they're doing. Don't do a half-hearted job. Don't spend your time because you can't get that back, your money because it's very hard to get back, and your gift on stuff and on people that you know that cannot produce the results. Get people on your team and on your side that know what they're doing and that can accelerate you to where you need to go. With my company, EM Artist Services, we provide you with the best team to do your production, your vocal recording, your vocal production, your songwriting, mixing, mastering, branding, photo shoot, distribution, music videos, and a lot more. Now, I know what you're thinking, all of that? Yes, all of it, and we've done it over 30 times. We're not jack of all trades, but we have the best people in our team working for our company to get the best results for you. The great thing about it is we tailor our packages based on our clients. Everybody's different, and not everybody wants the same thing. So we make sure that we tailor our packages to suit your needs and make sure that you're happy with the service that you get. The reason why this would make sense for you is because most of the time I hear people saying that they've been trying to record or tried to release an album for a year, 2 years, because a majority of their time is spent organizing and not creating. Chasing studio sessions, chasing songwriters, not even know where to write songs, not even knowing how to write songs, going to the wrong producers, going to the wrong photographers, going to people that might not understand what your vision is. And the process becomes more than making great music. It actually becomes an organizational mess. That is the biggest frustration, which you don't want. But with our company, we literally make sure we hit the nail on the head as soon as you come to us. So if you're tired of wasting money and time, or you're not interested in wasting money and time, you want a great team around you to produce your project, EM Artist Services is the right place for you. You have to remember that this journey can be extremely lonely and extremely time consuming. And most of the time, when somebody's halfway into it, they lose strength and they lose fight. The great thing about working with EM Artist Services is that we hold your hand through the whole process, so you'll never be alone with us. You are surrounded by creatives who are egging you on and encouraging you through your whole process. I mean, producers, songwriters, stylists, and many more. Once your album is done, we help with your distribution. Distribute it online to all of the digital stores, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and a lot more. So that once your album is complete, you can start selling it online. Another thing that our clients love about our services, you own your own music. We're not a record label that owns the masters to your music or anything like that. You own your music. Your music is yours. So what does that mean? We don't take any percentage of your record sales, or we don't own any of your masters. So you're just paying us for a service, and we provide that service to you. No long-term contracts, no legal mess about who owns what. The music is yours. And why not? You're the one that spent hours in the studio. You're the one that even had the idea of doing the project. In fact, you're the one that even paid for it. And it's your investment. Why should we own anything from that? So your music is totally yours. But we just made this process very easy for you. I know what you're thinking. It's a bit of a dream come true for artists, but that's why we've been successful so far. So you just focus on the creating. All the behind the scenes stuff, the scheduling, the timing, the studio sessions, all of that stuff, we take care of that. All you need to do is just turn up. You have to make sure that your product is industry standard and it's standing out, because there's so many people that are producing music in their bedrooms and just buying instrumentals for pittance online and recording through their phones and doing all this sort of stuff. But if you want to stand out and for people to take you seriously, you have to produce an industry standard project. Excellence is the key. And with our professional award-winning team of producers, engineers, photographers, stylists, excellence can and will be produced to bring your dreams to a reality. I hope you found my tips useful. And guys, this is your year. Make it happen. If you want our company to handle your project, please do get in touch with us at emartistservices.com. All our details are below on the screen. Thank you very much and have a fantastic year. God bless.